COVID-19 and depression. It is a sensation that so many of us are feeling right now. It is common, it is global, and it's uncomfortable to say the least. I just wanted to come in here today and offer some of the ways I've been thinking about depression. This is part 2. Make sure you catch part 1 where I talk about basic needs and opening to an access point of joy. And I can't wait to dive into this more with you on how we're operating individually and globally in this dynamic situation we're in with Corona, COVID-19, this pandemic, whatever you're calling it these days. It's a lot. So let's dive in. I'm Swift Everdy, and I am an energy healer and intuitive guide, and I work with individuals and groups and you on how we can wake up our awareness and our connection to ourselves, our knowing, our awareness, and how we can use that to navigate the intensity of being a dang human. So if you're liking these videos, if you've seen them before, if you want to see more, please like, subscribe, click the bell, all the things. Let's talk about depression and COVID-19. So I've been feeling this. I've had so many clients feeling this. It is a lot right now. There is this global sensation of depression right now. If you think about some of the archetypes of depression, it's that flatness, it's that lack of motivation, it's that stuckness, it's sadness, it's grief, it's that lack of energy, it's that just ongoing pause without a momentum behind it, which is pretty much what's happening globally with coronavirus right now. There's this demand, requirement, and sort of authoritarian cap put on pause. Don't move, don't go anywhere. It's not safe to do that. There's a lot of dynamic information in here we don't know, and a lot of those I don't knows create more of that sensation of pause and trying to motivate but don't quite know, and it's this forward and back, and maybe I'll just lay in bed all day because it's just simpler. We've lost connections to some of the things that we need to keep us happy, that we've created habits around what keep us motivated and excited in our lives, and there's ways where we can't access those in the same ways. And overall, it just gets super, can feel the thick of the fog of the forget it. This is hard, I'm suffering, but I'm just gonna stay put because I have to, and I don't really have a choice. So, F it. So that's a bit of what we're all sitting in. I hope you can understand what I'm saying. Maybe you can relate to that. And it's complicated. So the first thing I'm wanting to offer here is this piece around how we are individuals experiencing this connected to that global system. I want to offer you the question, is this mine? When you're witnessing that heaviness in your system, asking yourself, is this mine? And sitting with that, because there's a piece as humans, as bodies that came here on this planet in this time, in this day, in this age, came here to be a sponge of experience and connection. It's my point of view. It's what I've been taught in this practice that I'm certified in the infinity healing practice, that bodies are designed to be these sponges, receptors of the world around us, of information, of connections, of purpose, of value, sort of this expression and receiving at the same time. And by design, we are empathic. We soak up things that don't belong to us. And the soup that we're sitting in is pretty darn toxic right now, to be a little graphic. It's kind of toxic out there. So how much of what we're feeling is actually ours? And giving yourself the possibility, the opportunity to ask that, is this mine? Because simply deciphering that gives so much lightness to be like, oh, I'm sitting in this global intensity. The global intensity of grief right now. So many beings and bodies are leaving the planet right now because of this. So many people are losing their beloveds. There's so much loss right now. When we tap into that and start existing as that and start thinking that it's ours, it can feel so overwhelming. So a moment of witnessing, is this mine? I'm just taking a breath there. So when we find that things really aren't belonging to us and we're sitting in that global soup, giving yourself permission to let yourself off the hook a bit. And in this work, we call it closing circuits. So closing circuits, closing that global circuit, that looping, the intensity of that soup, actually giving yourself an opportunity to energetically close it up, wrap it with a bow, and place it out of sight. Now, out of sight, out of mind does not mean a dismissal, an ignoring, a pretending it's not there. What it means is a piece of right now, I am going to choose something else, and I'm not dismissing it. I love you. I see all the grief in the world. And right now I'm going to turn to me for one moment and take a breath there and see what that feels like and see if that's different. So I want to offer you, if you'd like to receive this, there's an activation that I use that comes from the Infinity Healing practice where we command a closing of circuits, where you get to take your self-agency and take the energy that's flowing around you and insert your agency to actively close circuits. So if you'd like to receive this, we're going to run through it, take a few breaths. We're going to specifically close circuits on the global pandemic energies that are going around. So take a few breaths. If you'd like, you can close your eyes, participate as ever feels light for you, whether that's just listening or closing your eyes and breathing deeply. So for you right now, I command the light of consciousness to close circuits on the global plane, on the global circuit of the intensity of this pandemic. For you, for a moment, commanding the closing of that circuit. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, energetically, and genetically. Through all times, spaces, dimensions, and universes. Taking a breath there. I'm going to run it again. I command the light of consciousness to close all global circuits in relation to the pandemic. Through all times, spaces, dimensions, and universes. Activate change and generate healing immediately. Taking a breath there, thank you. So using that activation, using those words to give a pause on the global as it's required for you. The flip side of this is recognizing when the global is calling for you and pulsing for you and pulling for you because you are being called to be a contribution and meeting that. And the biggest way that I'm finding that I'm witnessing for clients that's so supportive for this is being a contribution. Acts of service, donations of time or energy, or even just connections with people that are needing support virtually or social distance or whatever it looks like, being a contribution into the global to ease some of that grief and loss and witness how you can be a contribution. Because even when we're in that flatness of depression and I don't want to, and the I can'ts and the I'm not enoughs, give yourself evidence that you have value. Or at least give yourself the opportunity to give yourself evidence that you have value. These moments for me have been the most potent when I'm gifting intentional space with someone, or when I make a donation, or when I step out into the world and put my energy in a different way to be received and to witness in a different way. It's stunning how much impact, at least for me, it's had to be of service. You can also take that same potency of being of service and do it for yourself. Give yourself that same service. We talked about some basic needs in the last video. Some of that is self-care, of just drinking that cup of tea with so much love and honoring of the loss and the grief around you, your individual system, the world around you, but drinking that tea with so much value and contribution to yourself. Just taking a breath there. Thank you. So these are the pieces I wanted to talk about today, just getting curious about what's individual, what's global, how do I filter and sort where my system is in this spectrum, what can I do where I fall on different pieces of this, and how I can show up with more capacity, because simply recognizing that the sensations in our bodies may not be ours and are connected to this global system can give us a little relief, because we don't have to hold all the weight. The biggest piece that's also a connection here that I'm loving is that we're not alone in this. We're just not. There are so much grief and loss right now, and so many people feeling the exact same sensations that you're feeling. And just knowing that we're not solitary and we're not even lonely in our loneliness feels like a bit of a lightness there, where we can shift our bodies, take a breath, and be like, wow, this is really dramatic right now, and I'm not alone. So I hope you found some of these tools helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Again, like, subscribe, click the bell if you'd like to hear more from me. If you're interested, I have a free mini course in the description. It's called Ask Away, where we use questions to wake up our connection to our awareness and our knowing. It's 5 days, and there's also a link down there. If you're loving what I'm offering, or if you're just curious, I'd love to book a free discovery call with you. You and I can get a chance to know each other, to talk, to connect, to see if we're a good fit, or just get to know what I'm offering into the world a little more and ask any questions. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.